Welcome in, man. I've been listening to Christian hard rock and metal music since the late 1970s. Even before I was a Christian, man, I had friends like Mike Davis and others who were turning me on to music in an effort to turn my attention to Christ and help me come to know Him as Savior, who would turn me on to bands like Petra and Jerusalem. And when I did surrender my life to Christ in 1987, man, I dove headlong full force into the Christian hard rock and metal world. So I've been listening to this genre of music for a long time. And in this video, I am stoked to share with you my top 10 Christian old school hard rock and metal vocalists. And it all starts right now. Rocking you up for Jesus Christ with classic style hard rock music and practical Bible teaching. Coming in at number 10 is a bluesy, hard rock, raspy, soulful voice. I recently got to see this performer open up for Stryper. It was just him in an acoustic set. Loved it, man. I also saw this guy at Creation Fest back in the mid-90s in Pennsylvania. If you've never heard about Creation Fest, one of those massive music festivals. This singer was in two bands that I loved. The first one was Tempest. I think they only came out with one album, but I love that album. And then the other band, of course, was Guardian. You know this voice. Let it rock you up, man. Here's my choice for number 10 on my all-time top Christian hard rock vocalists.
Can you feel the power? Get up! Say whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa. Listen up, I'm back on my feet. I'm about to broke loose and I got something to say.
Coming in at number 9 is another bluesy, soulful, raspy singer who also is a great hard rock blues guitar player, was part of a band that came out of Chicago. This band had a huge impact on me even before I surrendered my life to Christ in 87. In the early 80s, I came across some of their music and really liked it. Two of my favorite songs by this band are City Streets and Military Man. Here is my choice for number 9 in my top 10 Christian hard rock vocalists. Coming in at number 8 is a vocalist who has a flair for the dramatic. He doesn't just sing, he performs. His vocals and his whole delivery is filled with passion and love for Jesus. It just drips from him. I was blessed to see this singer live once, way back in the day, around 89-ish, maybe 90, in Indianapolis with some friends of mine in a little Christian band I was in called Blueprint. We went to see him. I had the wonderful opportunity to work with this singer. He laid the vocal track on a song called He Loves Me from my album Breakout. Super gracious. I remember when I called him up to talk with him about it, he only really had one question. Is this song about glorifying Jesus? And I said, absolutely. He said, I'm in, man. He didn't even ask for any financial compensation. He just donated his time and he did a tremendous performance, man. This lead singer is going to bless you, man. Here's who I chose for number 8 in my top 10 Christian hard rock metal vocalists. Check him out. Coming in at number 7 is another one of my metal heroes with whom I've had the opportunity to work. He also laid vocals on my breakout album on a song called Turn Up the Light. I remember when I called him, we had a wonderful conversation. He was just very gracious with his time and happy to work with me. We stayed in touch for a little bit during that time. Just a super guy and an incredible talent. He also, like Les, donated all of his time for the vocal tracks, and he didn't just lay a vocal track. He did a full set of backing vocals for this song and just graciously just donated it. He was known as a solo artist, but he was also known for a band that he started called Shout. Some classic 80s hard rock metal music. I think you're going to enjoy this one, man. Here is my number 7 all-time favorite hard rock vocalist. Coming in at number 6 is the gifted vocalist who is nicknamed the voice of melodic metal. You might know him from his singing with Impellitteri. By the way, if you haven't checked out Impellitteri, you gotta check out Impellitteri. They rock, man. But he also has a number of solo albums, and they're just amazing. Love his work. Here's my number 6 all-time favorite Christian hard rock metal vocalist.
Take my hand. Take my hand.
Coming in at number 5 on my top 10 list is a vocalist who was like a flash in the pan. He came and went before anyone really knew who he was. His band Rage of Angels, their debut album, the band actually broke up before the album was fully released. That debut album, even without any tour support, has become a cult favorite among so many classic hard rock Christian metal fans. I love this dude's voice, man. Here is my pick for number 5. Check him out. Coming in at number 4 is a singer who I discovered in 1990 when this band's self-titled debut album came out. I remember 1990 so well. I was engaged to my wife, Kelly. It was her senior year in school at Anderson University in Central Indiana. It was just a wonderful time in my life, and part of what made it awesome was I had discovered this band. The band was called Holy Soldier, and oh, I loved that album. It was just phenomenal, and this singer, he just had that it factor, and it fit. His voice just fit so well with the band's music. Kind of a unique tone, soulful, but yet could really belt some great metal. Here's my pick for number 4.
Stranger!
As we come into the top 3, man, these 3 vocalists have really impacted my world. And number 3 totally rocked me up for Jesus. The summer of 1987 when I first discovered this band. 1987 was the year that I rededicated my life to Christ, and I had flown from Indiana out to Wichita, Kansas, living with some family who were involved in ministry out there. The whole point was to get away from all of the influences, the bad company that was corrupting my life, right? As Paul says in Corinthians, bad company corrupts good character. I had to get away from that. And so I'm working for this auto repair shop, and I'm driving a car all over Wichita. I was a parts runner. And so I had just time to just listen all the time. And I stopped by the Christian bookstore, and I went in and I'm looking through the albums, and I see this album cover by the band Saint. I was like, whoa. I mean, I don't even have to listen to this band. I'm just going to buy it because the album artwork is awesome. But in that day, they would let you drop a tape in and check them out. Dude, I only had to listen to a couple seconds of it, and I'm like, oh, this is golden. This is awesome. I purchased that. I got back out in my car. I dropped it in my Sony Walkman. Remember those? Put my headphones on and went on with, running my routes. And I'm just like cruising down the road, just rocking to this voice. It was like, not exactly, but very much like Judas Priest got saved. In later years, I was so blessed to connect with the bass player for Saint, Richard Lynch. We actually became buddies for a season during the Reshredded years. So he played bass on Reshredded quite a bit. And the lead guitarist, Dee Harrington, who did a lot of work on Too Late for Living, just an amazing guy. Got to know him, and we talked quite a bit during those years, and he laid a lot of tracks on the Reshredded album as well. And Saint, I was so blessed. They actually promoted Reshredded on the Saint website for a number of years. Just great guys. Like with Les Carlson and Ken Tamplin, these guys, it wasn't about money for them. They're like, dude, we're in this together. We're brothers in metal and in the kingdom, and anything we can do to help each other and promote the gospel through our music, let's do it. But anyway, this lead singer, man, this voice, it rocked my world. Here is my pick for number 3 and my top 10 all-time old school Christian hard rock and metal vocalists. Coming in at number 2, what a voice. I have so many memories associated with this voice and this debut album by this band that came out in 1987. Some of you who have heard some of my story before, you know that the year after I rededicated my life, which was in 87, then in 88 I had a brain tumor, and it was benign, praise God, but when I underwent surgery to have it removed, I lost 75% of my vision, so I'm still legally blind to this day. That's a story for another video. But I remember when I came home from the hospital and I was recouping, I was living with my grandma at the time, and I had this little clock radio with these little speakers and a cassette player, and I had purchased this Whitecross album, and I don't even remember how I got turned on to them. I dropped it in the tape player, and this voice and this band just ministered to me, man. They rocked me up. It really and truly felt like Dokken and Rat got together, became Christian, and started cranking out music. I was blessed to meet this vocalist at a show in Indianapolis some years ago. I went to see Striper, and Petra was there, and Chaotic Resemblance, and then also this band, and I love their set. And afterward, my brother Brent and I are walking out of the facility. It was like a convention center, and the lobby was just, there he was, just standing there. I was like, dude, I gotta say hello. So I went up and I said, hey, how you doing? And he was super gracious. Again, that's a theme through with all these guys. Super gracious, and I got a chance to tell him how much his music had ministered to me at critical parts of my life. And I got to share with him a little bit of my story of how I came out of darkness, and right at that time that album came out, it just came into my life at a perfect critical time, and he was just like, you know what, dude, that's exactly why we were making that music, for people just like you, and got a picture with him. It was super cool. Here is my number 2 all-time hard rock Christian metal vocalist. And here we are, number 1. This voice, without question, has impacted my life as much as any other voice in my life, whether it's a singer or a preacher or anyone. I mean, this voice has been part of my world for so many years. I discovered the band in 1984. The lyrics, the vocals, the melody lines, the whole thing, man, has just ministered to me. It's been part of the soundtrack of my life. I've been blessed to see this band about 5 times. Never got to see them in the day, but they reunited in the early 2000s, and I've seen them about 5 times since then. Hope I get to see them 5 more, man. I absolutely love this dude. I hope they're together for a long time. Here is my number 1 all-time old school hard rock Christian metal vocalist. Hope you enjoy this.
The soldiers under God's command, we hold His two-edged sword within our hands. We're not ashamed to stand up for what's right. We win without sound. It's on by our mind, and we're fighting. All right, hold on a minute here, man. Come on now, guys. How many people know this song? Anybody? Well, then what was that? Come on. And we're fighting. And the good bug, it stands will. So under command. Oh, so fighting the love was meant to play.
All right, so there's my top 10 old school Christian hard rock and metal vocalists. Let me hear yours, right? This is all about taste and how they've affected our life, and everybody's story is different. So I'd love to hear your top 10. Put them down in the comments, all right? Let's interact. God bless you. Keep your eyes on Jesus.